Jamon! What's going on, people? It's your boy Josh, the Screen Gazer, and we're talking about the Michael Jackson biopic. Now, obviously, if you've been on the internet, there's a lot of mixed reactions, mostly critics kind of shitting on it, giving it below like a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes or wherever. So it depends on what site you look at, but from an audience perspective, audiences love it. And going into it, both as an audience member and also a critic reviewing movies, it's pretty good. I don't know what critics exactly are looking at. Granted, there are things that are unfortunate, like how The Wiz isn't in it. Diana Ross is not in it, even though they filmed Diana Ross's parts, like the actress that portrayed Diana Ross, but then Diana Ross was like, you know what? Never mind, I don't want to be in it. So that cost the production studio like millions of dollars to reshoot and cut, which is like fucked up. And The Wiz was a big part of Michael Jackson's life. Also, a big part of Michael Jackson's life and the Jackson family was Janet Jackson, and she wasn't in it because she didn't want to be. It was very unfortunate because she plays a big role both in the Jackson family and Michael Jackson's life. Like, she didn't exist at all. Like, the origin story starts in 1966, literally the year Janet Jackson was born, and she doesn't exist at all. And it's very weird not seeing Janet Jackson at all. So that kind of messes with the movie, but there's nothing really production companies can do, or directors or anything. They can't do anything because legally they said no. I know a part two is coming because Michael Jackson's story is very long. This movie only stops at like the Bad release, like the year after Bad comes out in 1988. But there's so much of Michael Jackson's story to tell. But there's honestly nothing we can do as an audience member. We want to see this covered, but sometimes, we have to respect the Jackson family and whoever is being portrayed in it. If they don't want to be seen, especially in part two that's coming out, all the legal trouble Michael Jackson had with both the allegations and being in debt and all of that. I doubt they're gonna touch on that. Maybe, I guess it depends on what the Jackson family is allowed to do, but absolutely not the allegations, because the people who sued Michael Jackson, they probably don't want to be portrayed in that, even though which is a little BS because they get to do documentaries on Michael Jackson while he's not alive and around or able to defend himself, but the biopic can't like talk about that. I don't know. I find it a little bit unfair, but there's nothing that production companies can do. But other than that stuff, the movie talks about mostly Michael Jackson, who's played by Jafar Jackson, his nephew, about really just the Jackson family and how Joe Jackson, played by Coleman Domingo, he did great. He just got consumed into that role, and also the makeup and prosthetics that they do for Coleman Domingo. He is very uncanny. He looks weird. Maybe it's just like the context that they used, but either way, it's really about Joe Jackson and the Jackson family's control over Michael Jackson and how he loves his family, but he also wants to pursue his own stardom by himself because he knows that he can be a star. He knows that he can rule the world with his music and change the world with his music, but also he's trying to let go of that leash that is around his neck due to Joe Jackson. And he finally does. If you know the story about Michael Jackson, he finally decides to go on his own and leave and pursue his own stardom, which once Bad came out, that was the pinnacle. That's like where it really started, where he was really coming into his own, where he knew who he wanted to be and he knew what he wanted, how he wanted to impact the world. So that's kind of how that movie focuses, or at least this first movie, about his origin going leading up to Bad, and I guess a part two will lead up to the rest of his story after Bad, with Dangerous and Invincible and past, present, future, history, like all of that. So I'm excited to see a part two. But for a part one, I thought it was really good. I gave it a 7.9 out of 10. I mean, there were a lot of things that I felt like they could have done better. They could have touched on with Michael Jackson's story that wasn't really like censored when it came to like legality and being able to portray someone. But I think overall, the movie did really well in portraying at least Michael Jackson. Jafar Jackson is really good, and Joe Jackson and the Jackson family.